This is one of the rarest PlayStations ever made. It's estimated that there are only 50 original units, but this one's broken. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, it's all hooked up. Let's see if it powers on. Oh yeah, we got a green light. It's kind of hard to see there for a second. And we even have a picture on the screen. Okay, this is great news so far, but let's see if it'll play a disc. Let's try Spyro Year of the Dragon. And absolutely no power. So we know it works, we know it shows a picture on the screen, we know that the disk drive does not work. The overall condition of this is dirty. The front is definitely yellowed. We might be able to retrobrite that, but really it's pretty dirty. Other than that, it's really not in too bad a condition. I definitely love the translucent look. You can kind of see the motherboard and components down in there. So this is a really unique system. I'm super glad to have it, but I'd really love to get it working. Let's take it apart. This PlayStation was made as a promo piece for Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and it's probably worth around $1,000. As of the time I'm filming this, there's one for sale on eBay for $1,500, and unfortunately, at least right now, there's just no sold devices like this, so I can't say for sure what it's worth, but I did find someone on Reddit who paid $700 for one, but that was about 5 years ago. So I think $1,000 is a pretty good estimate. I only paid $325 for this on eBay, which is a great deal if I can fix it, but not so much if I can't. I should easily be able to make some profit on this if we can get it fixed. I really miss the days when there was only 6 screws holding these things together. And just looking at this, it looks like this thing is in pretty good condition. This plastic can get kind of brittle over time, but I don't see any broken pieces on this or anything, so that's great news. And first look at the console inside. It definitely is dirty, but I mean, really not too bad other than that. So I do need to get this plate off so we can inspect the whole board. So we'll do that next. And to do that, we need to disconnect these ribbon cables and other cables. And we'll need to take a closer look at this whole assembly. Okay, let's just look real quick. Nothing too obvious going on here, but there's just absolutely no power to this disk drive at all. So it's either getting no power or it's just totally dead. We'll check that in a minute. Let's check out the board. And I do have to say a word of caution, just never work on open power supplies like this. They can be very dangerous. Okay, it's just those 2 screws. Perfect. And 2 more screws and the board comes out. It is cool that they have arrows right here showing you exactly what to take out. So now when I go to put it back together, I know that I need to put screws in right here. And then on the top plate, there's an arrow here and an arrow here, so I know that that's where I need to put screws in. Okay, now the board can come out. And looking at the underside, looks good. So I don't see any problems with the board, at least initially, so I've got it back in with these 2 screws in so we can start doing some tests on the disk drive. So this is the plug that should give the disk drive power, and then the data cable is this one right here. So we're gonna plug this in. Now let's connect the power supply and plug this into power, and then we can test the disk drive more. Okay, plugged into power, let's power the unit on. We got a green light, so we know it's powered on. I don't see anything visually like with this laser. The motor spins free. So what I'm gonna do is check the lid switch. That is one of the common problems with these, so let's test that. Oh, we got motor spin. The laser is also moving. Let's put a disc on here. This disc is actually fairly scratched, but okay, here we go. Let's see what happens.
If you use a MacBook like me, you've probably hit the same wall. Too few ports, only one external monitor, and a desk that turns into cable spaghetti. It's time for an upgrade. Today we're looking at 2. The Anker Prime DL7400 docking station built on DisplayLink, and the Anker Prime TB5 docking station, one of the first docks to use Thunderbolt 5. Which one's right for you? Let's dive in. The Anker Prime DL7400 docking station lets Mac and Windows users run triple displays, one up to 8K and 2 in 4K. It also packs 160 watts of charging across 4 USB-C ports. That means up to 140 watts for your laptop, while still powering phones, tablets, or SSDs. Each front port supports both charging and data transfer, and the built-in LCD screen gives you real-time readouts of charging power, data transfer speeds, and even the temperature of the docking station. Now, the Anker Prime TB5 docking station is in a league of its own. It's one of the very first docks with Thunderbolt 5, tripling the bandwidth of Thunderbolt 4. That means up to 120 gigs per second of transfer speed. With the right MacBook Pro or Intel PC that already supports Thunderbolt 5, you can move a 150 gig file in about 25 seconds. It also supports dual 8K monitors, 140 watt laptop charging, and with Whisper Quiet active cooling and customizable ambient lighting, it's both powerful and sleek. Both docking stations feature built-in power supplies, so no bulky power bricks taking up space under your desk. Plus, they both use active cooling to keep performance stable without throttling. So here's the breakdown. The Anker Prime DL7400 docking station is the go-to if you want multiple screens and smart port management, while the Anker Prime TB5 docking station is built for next-level speeds and pro setups. Check the link below for details on both models and current discounts on the Anker Prime DL7400.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Is it going to stay spinning? This usually doesn't work that well because my hands kind of shake, and so a lot of times the laser can't read. It is spinning up pretty good though. Let's see if we can stabilize it a bit more. There we go. This disc might be too scratched. Okay, I mean, it's still spinning. I don't know if it's spinning enough to play the game or not, but we have some hope here. Okay, so the main problem though is what is with this lid switch and why is that cover not hitting the lid switch when we move it down? Let's check that out next. Okay, so here's the lid. Here's the open button. And this right here is the lid switch. So I'm gonna put my finger on it. Let's push. Ooh, this gear skips right here. That's not good. Push down. Okay, it does hit for sure. I don't know if it's enough though. It moves down just a little bit. And so we'll definitely have to look into that. And also this gear just skips a lot in certain positions. So right here, you can see this gear is just moving while this gear is not spinning very much. Okay, so that's the two things we need to figure out. We need to figure out this and we need to figure out this. So let's see what's going on here. These gears don't click right, and this doesn't come down far enough. I wonder if this is all related to the same thing. There's a lot of play in this lid right here. So let's see, if we put some pressure there, that works really smoothly. Okay. So I think what we need to do is take this whole lid off along with the gears and the hinges here. And let's take a little closer look at that. I didn't think I was going to be working on a mechanical issue today, but this looks like maybe that's what the problem is. It might be an easy fix though. The only unfortunate thing is there's not really parts available for this thing. So at least in this clear color, not really color, but clear lack of color. Okay, let's see. I've never actually taken one of these apart before. This lid part. So let's see what we got. Hinge on one side, there's that piece. And then what's going on over here? We just have another hinge piece. Gotta make sure I see how that comes off. Oh, okay, that just goes way down there. Okay, there's gotta be a better way to do this. I'm sure everyone in my comments is gonna let me know exactly what that better way is. There we go. Okay. Now, this should be able to come out here, and this can come out like that. Okay, there we go. So now we need to see if we got some worn parts or something. That doesn't look worn at all. Our hinge doesn't look worn. Oh, this piece is barely turning. I don't think that would cause a problem, but this is like really stuck, so maybe. Okay, so there is a little screw holding this on. Let's get that out and have a look at that. I don't know how this comes apart. There we go. So there's just like maybe some dried grease up in there. Does this just come apart? I don't know what's going on inside this thing, but we got to fix that for sure. I'm not sure how to actually get down in there though. I've never quite seen a mechanism like this, I don't think. So I'm gonna go with a little BW100 in here. See if we can get that down in there and clean that up. I suppose it is pretty likely that this is supposed to have some tension on it. That's probably why that's whatever that stuff is in there, that substance is doing in there. That's why it's there, is to give this a little bit of pushback on the lid. But there's just too much, so that's the first problem. I don't want to like clean it all out, but at the same time, I do want it to turn a little bit easier. Just turns too hard right now. I'm not sure that any of this cleaner is actually getting in there, and I don't want a lot of it to get in there because I might just need to kind of like rehydrate this grease in here, or whatever this substance is. Okay, that's feeling much better. So I think that was part of our problem, but we got to figure out the rest. I thought there was going to be, you know, a hinge pin that was worn out or something, but I haven't seen any of that yet. So let's see what else we can figure out. Just looking at this hinge pin, it's not like worn out or anything. One thing I am going to do is I am going to lubricate all of these hinge pins because, I mean, I don't know that that's a problem, but it's certainly not going to hurt anything. And then this hinge pin over here, it actually looks pretty good too. It's a little bit of play, but not too much. I'm gonna clean up these gears a little bit more. I'm gonna give the pins some lubrication and we'll see if that helps any. I'm just gonna put a little bit of grease on these pins. We don't need a lot, it's just enough to help lubricate it a little bit. I don't want the grease going all over the place, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on here. I'm using a synthetic grease for this. White lithium would probably work. I don't want to take the chance of these pins like turning white or anything. So I'm just going to use this clear synthetic. It'll be fine. Just a little bit of grease on this guy. Okay, now let's see if I can put this thing back together. It's much more difficult than I expected taking it apart. So let's see what we can do here. Like that, so that needs to go like this. Okay, there's that part. Oh, also, I should also grease these parts up too while I'm here because it's going to be a good idea to do. Also, this part clicks against that part, so I want to make sure that's nice and strong too. So right here and right here are the parts that rub, so we're going to grease those up. Again, just with a little bit. We don't want much on here, but enough to hopefully get these pieces sliding a little bit better. This thing's old, so any lubrication we can give it is going to be good, as long as it's not too much. Okay, that part should be good now. Yep, that's going to help a lot. Okay. Yep, that's working good. Now this part. That needs to go down there like that. It's a way easier way to do it than I did at first. So I've got it all back together. And I mean, it's definitely working better. I wish, it still seems like there's quite a bit of play right here. But I'm not sure if there's any way to fix that. I think probably the main problem is this type of plastic is probably just not as strong as the gray plastic they usually use for these. But that being said, we still need to find a full fix for this. And I mean, maybe it is fixed. I need to test it a little bit more and then we can see what else our options are. Now, unfortunately, there's no good way to take up the slack in this lid because it's partly the hinge pin and the hole. Like, even though they're not worn, that is kind of what's leaving a little bit of play here. Then the other problem too is that this whole lid can be bent a little bit just like that. And that's sort of what's happening here. So what I'm going to do is actually put a spacer on this screw hole right here. That's going to take up a little bit of space and kind of push this case up like that. So that, I'll put a spacer there. I'll put a spacer over here, so it's kind of doing the same thing over here. And the goal is to make the case just ever so slightly bend up like this, which will then hopefully keep this lid down a little bit more. I don't know for sure how well that's gonna work, but I think that's gonna be the best thing to try. So one of my ideas was to put a spacer on this part of the hinge. That makes the whole door move over this way. And that makes it so this gear makes much better contact with this gear. But unfortunately, I think that looks terrible. So I either need to not do the washer or find maybe a clear washer, but I just can't do that. That looks too bad. I think I'll skip that for now. Let's get this thing put on and see if the other fixes we've done help at all. So this is the button that pushes down on the button on the board. What I'm gonna do is put a little bit of adhesive on the button. This is double-sided, so, okay, there we go. And then I'm gonna put a little piece of cardboard there. This is just gonna act as a spacer. So this button will push down further. I think that's good enough. Now let's get this thing assembled. I am gonna do just a bit of cleaning before we get this thing all put back together. Nothing too crazy, but I wanna make sure all of this stuff inside is as clean as we can make it without too much trouble. That's actually pretty dirty. And I am gonna give this lens a quick cleaning in hopes that it's just gonna work right away when we start this thing up. Okay, that looks really good. Now I'm gonna place a washer on the 4 edge corners. I guess all corners are on the edge. On the 4 corners, just like this. And then I'm not gonna place washers in the middle, so that should take the case and kind of bend the edges up and the middle down, theoretically. All right, and then carefully put the shell down, just like that. And then flip it over and hope those washers stay in place. I think all good so far. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and the middle screws should kind of suck that middle portion down a little bit more. Yep, that's what we want. If you notice this, it looks kind of tacky, but I don't think most people are going to notice. You can see on the edges there's a bigger gap, and in the middle there's a smaller gap. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the gears definitely still don't work perfectly. This button works way better though. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is just give this case a good cleaning. We also need to install the PS logo here, so I need to take that from a different PlayStation so we can put it on there. And then after that, we'll finally get this thing tested. Okay, and how does she look? Really not too bad. That actually looks really good. That came out nice and clean. Okay, it's time to get it plugged in and see if all that work made this thing actually work. Okay, like I said, this disc is really scratched, so I'm not sure if I need to get a different disc, but let's try it out. Disc in. Power. And startup screen, good. And here we go, the game is totally working. And one last final touch. Come on, get on there. There we go. So this actually was a pretty easy fix. It took a while, but it really wasn't too bad. And now this Rare PS1 is fully working. If you like this video and want to see a similar video where I took a special edition Xbox that's worth about $700 and tried to fix that, I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and check out that one. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.